positions us so well for the future.
We can't take questions, so guys, feel free to raise your hands if you do want to ask one. Obviously, this is the first time we have Pitt and Syracuse here. That's an important step for the conference. We know Notre Dame comes in next year playing 5 games a year. I think in terms of football fans, what they're seeing going forward up and down the East Coast is exciting, and seeing where the ACC can go going forward with football.
Well, it's got to be exciting when you look at the membership and you look at the tradition and history of the schools that we have from a football standpoint. Pitt and Syracuse have won national championships. They've had high school trophy winners. More recently, they regrouped to some degree, but you see both of those programs progressing and the arrow pointing up. So I think that's exciting. I think anytime when you have 5 of your schools on an annual basis playing Notre Dame, which is unique in terms of its collegiate football brand, that's a positive for players and fans alike. And with Louisville coming in the near future as well, coming off the year that they had last year, which was athletically just remarkable considering their total program, and obviously outstanding from a football standpoint. You couple all that with the existing programs that we have and the potential that our programs have, and I think it bodes very, very well for the future.
Dan Tortora with DTB Media. John, with having the new Era Pinstripe Bowl as something that you've brought on for the future, not only having Syracuse but having a bowl that they've been successful in, what went into that decision to have that New York Bowl and bring it into your conference?
Well, I think with our expansion, with the footprint we're now in, we look at New York as being an important part of our footprint. Obviously, the media capital of the world, a great sports city, a city that's in Syracuse's backyard, so to speak, and our schools are just very interested in developing that area, that market, and that relationship with the Yankees. Quite candidly, early on in the conversations with the Yankees, I'll be honest with you, I wondered just how all in a franchise like the New York Yankees would be in having a bowl game. And it didn't take very long to understand that they were totally in, and they want to make this game something big, something very special. In that city, around the holidays, with the opportunity to play in the most iconic stadium, maybe in the world, for our players and our schools and our fans against a quality opponent in the Big Ten, I think the Pinstripe Bowl has, and with the Yankees backing, just has a great future. And it's really not just a bowl, that's the most important aspect of it, but you'll see branding in Yankee Stadium throughout the baseball season as well in terms of the Atlantic Coast Conference and our institutions.
They even had to throw a first pitch.
They did.
Loosen up the arm a little bit.
They did, and I did have to loosen it up a lot. And I threw the only pitch I have left, which is a changeup. But it was a strike.
Go, Jim.
Hey, John. Jim Connors from News 14 Carolina and Time Warner Cable. Good to see you again.
Jim, good to see you.
As a football guy yourself, you look at how attractive the league's non-conference schedule is and how badly some high-profile wins could be used to elevate the product. And so how much does it mean to you to see some of those W's start to come and to get respect at the national level for your football?
Well, we need to win as many of those games as we can, win our share of those games, from a national perspective in terms of the perception of the overall league. And we finished up last year very well in the bowl season and had some excellent wins there against brand competition and quality teams. And we've done that over the years. We need to do it as often as we possibly can. And the only way you can do that is to give yourself those opportunities. And our schools are giving themselves the opportunity to win those types of national profile games.
Hello, Mr. Commissioner. Alex Dodd, Dodd Sports Network, Greenville, South Carolina. And the footprint has been increased these past couple years with the additions of Pitt, Syracuse, Notre Dame, and soon Louisville. Do you think expansion's done for the time being, or?
Well, I hope so, and I think so. And for us, we're not having any discussions about growing any larger than the 15 that we currently are. I think our grant this spring not only really stabilized and solidified the Atlantic Coast Conference for the long term, I think it had the effect of stabilizing the national landscape to a degree as well. So I think the collegiate athletic industry needs a period of stability where things settle down. There's not as much movement as there has been in recent years. I think it'd be very healthy for the enterprise, and hopefully that'll be the case.
Hello, Commissioner Bob Holliday. How are you doing?
Bob, how are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Talking about the non-conference schedule, it's kind of breathtaking the first weekend where you have North Carolina, South Carolina, and Clemson, Georgia, and Virginia Tech, Alabama, and Florida State, Pittsburgh, and several other pretty good games. Tell us what it's like to be commissioner on a weekend like that. Where will you be spending the weekend? Will you watch games live on television? And what's your nerve level like during games with this much at stake?
Well, it is exciting, and it's extremely challenging for our teams, and hopefully we can get off to a great start in that opening weekend. You have to remember that the season is a long season, and one weekend doesn't make a season, but it'd be good to win our fair share of those games and sort of setting the tone going forward, understanding there are a lot of good games within the conference as well as outside the conference that remain after that. I will definitely be in Pittsburgh for the Florida State Pitt game on Labor Day Monday night. That will be Pitt's obviously first Atlantic Coast Conference game, and I'll be there for that, just as I will the first weekend in October in Syracuse for the Syracuse-Clemson game, which will be Syracuse's first Atlantic Coast Conference game as well. Beyond that, I'm not sure yet where I will be. I was in Atlanta last year for the opening weekend when both NC State and Clemson were in Atlanta. Therefore, if I'm somewhere on Saturday other than watching a multitude of games on television, it would probably be in Clemson for the Clemson-Georgia game before going to Pitt. So it's I've always said I enjoy this event a lot because it means that football season is just around the corner. And I'm just like a lot of you. I love football season and love that opening weekend. And, we're fortunate as a league to have that Monday night slot on Labor Day night to ourselves and a national audience for a game each and every year. And this year the Pitt Florida State game should be a terrific one on that platform.
Do you get a little nervous, or have you done this too many years for that?
Well, I like to win, so I get a little nervous, a little knot in the stomach, and I think that's a healthy thing.
And when the games are over, you watch the highlights and must-see moments on the ACC Digital Network.
I do. I have to throw that in.
Right.
Commissioner Mark Larson from Wyandotte, Syracuse. I know it's football season we're talking about, but basketball's around the corner, and there's been a little bit of talk of it up in Syracuse. And I think the biggest thing people up there feel we lost moving to the ACC is the Big East basketball tournament in New York. And you just mentioned New York is so important to your footprint. How likely is it that the ACC basketball tournament is going to be in New York in the next few years?
Well, I can't give you the likelihood, but we are interested in that. A lot of that depends on availability of venue, and we're having some ongoing discussions about the possibilities in the future. We're here in Greensboro for 2 more years, and our athletic directors are in the process of evaluating what the next rotation might look like. I think we would be remiss if we didn't consider New York. It's obviously the media capital of the world, a great mecca for college basketball. It's now a part of our footprint. So I think I would the Big East tournament's been terrific in New York for a lot of years. We understand that. The ACC tournament has been terrific here in North Carolina and periodically at other points along the way as well. I mean, Syracuse having been in the Big East tournament and coming into the ACC tournament, I think it's fair to say that over the years, those 2 tournaments have been the best that college basketball has to offer in terms of conference basketball tournaments. So I think Syracuse basketball is going from one great tournament to another great tournament. And that tournament in this league is very, very special, and we want to nourish it and keep building it. And the quality of the competition in that tournament is just going to be off the charts.
Do you know when that rotation will be decided?
Not for sure. We've got the possibility of a decision coming out of our fall meetings in October at Virginia Tech. That's an annual fall meeting that we have. We may be far enough along in these discussions to make a decision coming out of there.
John, from the basketball championship to the football championship, I know you touched on it yesterday, but in case anyone missed it, what's the latest? I know this is the last year for the contract with Charlotte. What are the thoughts about where the ACC football championship is in the future?
Most of our focus in the discussion with the athletic directors has centered on an extension in Charlotte. You always have the possibility of philosophically making a change and going to the campus site of one of the two teams. But we've been very pleased with Charlotte. 2 of the 3 years have been sellouts. The experiences for our fans and our players in Charlotte has been outstanding. And it's, even with the various expansions that our league has undergone, North Carolina, and particularly Charlotte, continues to be right in the geographic center of our league. So there are a lot of pluses there. Great stadium, that's downtown, near hotels, near restaurants. A lot of people can stay and walk to the stadium. It's an excellent environment. So there's not much not to like about Charlotte.
Do we have one more? No? Yeah, Bob, let's do one more.
2005, ACC was a defensive league. That was the year 12 players went to the first round of the draft. Now it's an offensive league. Your thoughts as to how it has evolved like that, and is it more fun being commissioner of an offensive-minded league?
I want to be commissioner of one that's both, where you score a lot of points and don't give up hardly any. But I think some of it is cyclical, and the game changes. It becomes more wide open as offensive philosophies change, and then ultimately defenses tend to figure out how to defend certain kinds of offenses. So I think you see that ebb and flow in college football, and that's part of the fun. And we've got some terrific offenses to watch. It's fun to watch. I think fans like high-scoring games, but I think they also understand and appreciate the defense when they see it. And when you look at the NFL rosters, and there are more linebackers in the NFL out of the Atlantic Coast Conference than any other conference. And, so that says something about the history you were referring to, Bob.
I know you held the Commissioners Forum yesterday, but thanks again for coming through and answering